Hi, my name is Shazib, and this is my reflection on the child labor role play in the CT confectionery case. When I stepped into the CSO role, I felt good because I wanted to know more about what a CSO is actually responsible for in a business. I also felt a sense of responsibility because the role was about ethics and sustainability in this case. This reflection is about how I personally thought and felt in this role play and what I learned about myself in the process. My personal stance was very clear from the beginning. Child labor should stop immediately. I don't support it in any way. I believe children should be in school, becoming educated, and building a better future for themselves and their families. Even if it is financially harmful for the business, I would still follow the rules and do the right thing. That's more important than the short term gains that a business prioritizes. At the same time, I understood how difficult it is for the families living under the poverty line. For many, even having daily meals is a challenge. Children sometimes see working as helping their families and they feel proud about it. But they don't realize the long term harm. If they had access to school and support, their potential would be much higher in the future. That's why I said we must also support the families so their children can actually go to the school and live a normal childhood. In this slide, I'll talk about my role in the meeting. In the meeting, it was made clear that we could not continue this partnership until unless strict conditions were introduced, and I supported it all the way. I recommended supply codes of conduct, independent audits, and more transparency. This way, the companies would take more responsibility while still protecting their reputation. I stayed firm on my ethical stance, and both the investigator and the CEO agreed with this approach. My way of thinking fits with deontology. That means following the rules and stopping what's wrong, no matter what the cost is. I also think stakeholder theory describes me because I focused on protecting the most vulnerable stakeholders, in this case, the children. For me, honesty and fairness should come before money, and that guided all my contributions in the role play. My biggest contribution was suggesting practical solutions. I talked about supplier codes of conduct, regular audits, and working with NGOs to support families along with investigators. This was about looking at the long term sustainability of the supply chain. It wasn't just about stopping child labor, but also helping families so the children can stay in school and communities can still survive. My cultural background also shaped my perspective. I grew up in Pakistan and I have seen child labor happen with my own eyes. I understood the cultural and socio-economic reasons behind it. If I had grown up only in Australia, maybe I wouldn't fully understand why children end up working instead of going to school. This helped me bring empathy into the discussion, even though I was still against child labor. This experience did change my perspective. At first, I saw child labor as a completely black and white issue. It's wrong, so we should stop it. But once I listened to others and thought about the families, I realized it's more complicated. Rules are necessary, but empathy is also needed. The bigger picture view made me see ethical dilemmas in a more balanced way. I also noticed some strengths and weaknesses in myself. My strengths were being confident, empathetic, and fair. I was very clear and consistent in my communication. But one weakness was that I sometimes started talking about the financial side, which should have been the CFO's area. I realized this quickly and shifted back to my focus on sustainability. Another thing I could improve is listening more carefully before giving my opinion to others. I learned that for me, ethics will always come before profit. I also learned that I can stay true to my values even under pressure. Protecting vulnerable groups like children is something I feel strongly about, and this experience has showed me I can carry that into real business solutions. I also learned to adapt during complex discussions and still hold on to what's important to me. This experience will definitely influence me in my future career. I want to be more vocal about my views, but also support them by listening and understanding other perspectives. My goal is to make ethical leadership a daily practice, not just a theory. I want to balance fairness and rules and make decisions that are morally right as well as sustainable for the business. These are the references I use to support my reflection and connect my personal experience to the theory and frameworks. Thank you.